Alright, y'all, so now what's up with it? So now today I'm finna be talking about domestic violence inside of astrology, inside of the birth chart, right, and how you can see it. So now, as you all should know by now, there are multiple ways on how you can see certain things inside of the birth chart from various different angles, right? So some people think that the 10th house is the only house for career. No, it's not. Some people think that the 7th house is the only house for relationships, or the only planet that rule over the 7th house is for relationships. No, it's not, right? So I study Vedic astrology, and I used to study tropical astrology, and I'm here to tell you now, Vedic has so many more different techniques, right? Different variables, different things to take into consideration, right? So now, the way I'm finna frame domestic violence is finna be more from the fiery aspect lens, right? So now, we just gonna go and jump right into it. So now, I'm gonna give you a prime example. So what is domestic violence, right? Anything that's going on anything that's going on violently in some type of manner, apparently, you know, it depends on the law or the incident, whatever the hell going on. It's a situation that's going on, you know what I'm talking about, domestically, right? You see what I'm saying? In the house, things with family, like courts call it family violence now and shit like that. So yeah, anything that's going on with that specifically, right? So what I want to tell you this. The majority of times it can go on with a family member or a relationship partner. You see what I'm saying? So, excuse me. If you want, so you want to see it from the relationship angle aspect. Remember, this is just one set of things I'm talking about. There might be people who might come in under this maybe now or months, even years later, saying something that, well, I know this person could also do this because my cousin had this, so I got this, and this showed up. Yeah, astrology is very weird like that. It's a lot of different angles that can come out the blue or nowhere, and all kind of guide towards the same specific outcome that another set of combinations already did, right? But we gonna go ahead and talk about this. So now, the first planet you want to see prominently is Mars. Do you have Mars aspecting your Jupiter for a woman? Do you have Mars aspecting your Venus for a man? Or just those planets in general, right? Because in Vedic astrology, Jupiter is the planet of spouse, as far as the husband, right? And Venus is like a man's wives or girlfriends or whatever, right? See what I'm saying? So when you put that Martian energy on it, a lot of times it can get very fiery. But that does not always mean that it will lead to domestic violence in and of itself, right? This is just something to be looking and cautious about, right? Because now the Martian nature is feeding the Jupiterian nature, which rules husbands in a woman's birth chart. The Mars nature is now feeding the Venusian nature of, you know, ultimately the wife or girlfriend in a man's birth chart. Do you all see what I'm trying to say? So now that can cause a lot of heat, but will it cause domestic violence? Depends on, like they always say, the rest of the chart. But what is that rest of the chart factor? So I'm gonna give you a prime example. Let's say, for instance, you got Mars and Venus. You got Mars and Venus inside of Aries in the 7th house. Yeah, your ass better watch out. Mars and Venus and Aries inside the 7th house, because now Venus rules over the 1st house of Libra for you, and Venus also rules over the 8th house of Taurus as well for a Libra ascendant. So the 1st lord of self and identity and the 8th lord of, you know what I'm talking about, crisis events, ups and downs, dramatic events, is ruled by the same planet Venus, and now that Venus is going into the 7th house, right? So it's bringing that 1st house energies, and it's bringing that transformative crisis energies inside of the energy of Aries, which is what? You know what I'm talking about? Independence, strength, power. You see what I'm saying? Bold, dynamic action. All that type of shit y'all have seen countless people talk about what Aries is in and of itself, right? So now, but that same 8th and 1st house energy is now being blended in. With that Martian aggressiveness, right? So you take the Martian aggressiveness, you put it inside a relationship, then you put the planet that rules of your identity and crisis events together. Don't that sound like a big recipe for a disaster? Because if you all know, like I know, check this out. Taurus also, Libra, Mars also rules over the 2nd house. You see what I'm saying? Of family. I always understand that rules over the house of family as well for a Libra ascendant, which will be the 2nd house, right? And then Taurus rules with the 8th house, the other spouse's family, right? So guess what? This could bring your mama and your partner's dad or vice versa into conflict, right? This is how, well, my mama said she don't like how your daddy did this over there on this side, and you like, well, my dad don't like what your mama said over, and boom. So you see how we just tackle two different angles. One from you, dealing with your man or woman or whatever the hell, and then dealing with y'all families, right? So now let me break it down again one more time so people can really understand it, right? Like, this is just one angle. So let's say you're a Libra ascendant, right? Your second house of family is ruled by Mars because it's a Scorpionic ass in Scorpio, right? That same Mars rules your second house of family, and it rules your seventh house of relationships. So that Mars is now sitting in the seventh house of relationships of your partner, right? See what I'm saying? Aggressive, hot partner. You see what I'm saying? Probably into fitness, probably into engineering, probably into like being assertive, dominant, something of that nature, unless there are certain Saturnian influences that restrict it. You see what I'm saying? So now, or you know what's my other aspects on houses, right? So now you got that second and seventh lord inside the seventh house, right? So we get it. Family, that's your family, right? From your family. Then you got the eighth lord, which is ruled by Venus, which is your spouse's family. So your seventh house is Aries, right? But the second house from Aries, the eighth house, that's their family. You see what I'm saying? Now it's all coming into the seventh house. And for those of you all who don't know, in Vedic astrology, you can look this up, but the seventh house also rules the house of open enemies. Yes, the 12th house rules hidden enemies, 6th house rules daily enemies, you see, in disease and health, but 7th house rules people that will openly oppose you. You see what I'm saying? And then not only that, a lot of y'all don't know this too, the 7th house in Vedic astrology is 10th from the 10th, right? It's 10th from the 10th, right? So it's the higher aspect of society at large, right? So the 7th house can expose whatever is going on inside of it to the public, right? So you got the family dynamic and all that shit with too much Martian energy. So yeah, real talk, right? You can do the same with Leo, fire sign. You do the same with Sagittarius. Now the fire might get expressed in different manners, but a lot of time the end result could possibly be the same, right? You see what I'm saying? So that's what I really want y'all to really truly understand. So when you looking at, I'm just trying to see domestic violence, one of the main planets you want to see is that Jupiter, that Mars, that Venus, and even sometimes with that Saturn. But this is going to be a part one. I'm going to make a part two probably in a couple more days or whatever. But other than that, like I said, like, share, subscribe. Follow me on TikTok, especially my Facebook. I'll be on there daily posting shit. If you want to read from me, my prices are all on my page and my site. But until then, I will holler at y'all ass later, man. Peace.